Today I am showing the structure of our modern-day progressives, what they want for America. And the single most important piece of progressive structure is government-run health care. I have warned against passing health care over and over again. America's picture is being transformed and we're not noticing it. None of the small stuff is as important as the fundamental changes currently being made to how our country works. Even the health care bill. This health care bill, in any form, must not pass. I told you the real reason they want to pass health care. Here it is. What do the progressives get out of health care? Control. Answer number one. And control of what? Control over you. Progressives think that you are too selfish, too greedy, too stupid to make good choices for the collective. Someone else needs to nudge you into the correct choices. This is why progressives push for more government, more control, and more regulation. They know better than you. Government health care is perfect. It's the perfect progressive weapon because it can be morphed and twisted into anything. It can be morphed and twisted into guns. They're dangerous. Oh, we got to sew people up after guns. Carbon. It'll hurt everybody. Food, cigarettes, beer, video games, you name it, they control it. A health argument can be made for anything. And, well, if you're burdening our system with your beer, guess what? Prohibition. That's what they did last time. Of course, liberal bloggers will call me crazy. I don't think they're going to ban beer again. No, if there's got a problem, they'll just tax it out because now they have the tax code. Progressives in Washington, instead of arguing the facts, use their tactics of their old hero, Saul Alinsky.
If you get sick, America, the Republican health care plan is this. Die quickly. That's right. The Republicans want you to die quickly if you get sick.
Of course they do. No, Alan, I just don't want politicians deciding on what I can and cannot eat, what I can and cannot drive. See how high I can set my thermostat. See, I'm a fan of a little thing called personal liberties. This health care bill is one giant leap for progressive control to replace personal choice and responsibility. It is all being sold to America as if it's our right to have health care. Watch this. This should be played on every news channel in America at the top of every hour until people hear it. It is Senator Tom Harkin. Watch this.
On one side is health care as a privilege. On the other side is health care as a right. With these votes, with the vote that we'll take before Christmas, we will cross that line finally and say that health care is a right of all Americans.
Okay. This is, he went on in, right after they met in the Senate, and they talked about how Congress is creating a new right. And don't worry, we're just building a bigger house. It's fantastic. Health care is not a right. FDR, a progressive, tried to make it a right in 1944 with his second Bill of Rights. Our current regulatory czar, Cass Sunstein, has an entire book out on FDR's unfinished revolution called The Second Bill of Rights. Well, now, wait a minute. So then how can Tom Harkin say that they've created a right? Created a right. Harkin is declaring Congress as God, because we all know where the rights come from. If you read the Declaration of Independence, there's a phrase from the Declaration of Independence on where those rights come from. You may have heard it before. It goes something like this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Were you listening to that? Tom, Cass, Barack Obama. Endowed by their Creator, not endowed by their senator or their regulatory czar or their president. God is the grantor of rights, no one else. But that's the politics of the past, the politics of our founding. The progressives, like FDR, Sunstein, Harkin, desperately want you to be dependent on them and not dependent on yourself. And God, well, that's just a secondary thought. If God doesn't exist, if God is somehow or another cut out of the rights process, you get all of your rights from government. That is in essence what our founders fought against. Government bestowing rights. It gives them power, because what the government giveth, the government can taketh away. And if you disobey, oh, guess who loses their rights? You eat too many chips, you fatty fat fatso? Guess who loses their right to health care? Because it's costing the system. You do, fatty. Oh, that's crazy, right? Really? Let me ask you this. Does anybody remember the British nurse who got a job in New Zealand? She was told she couldn't live there because the government did the math. And her BMI, the body mass index, came out to 55.2, which would cost New Zealand $25,000. She couldn't live in New Zealand because she was too fat. Why? Government-run health care. This is what Cass Sunstein, the most dangerous man in America, I believe, also is leading us towards. This is why you should be frightened that the Secretary of HHS is mentioned 2,500 times. That is more than one time per page overall, and more than 1,600 of those times having the authority to create, determine, or define things in the health care bill. Because they will be decided on who does and who does not get rights. Because rights no longer come from God in America. At least FDR tried to make the pitch to the American people. Harkin and the rest of the progressives are in control today, and they are letting the American people that we don't even need to pitch a second Bill of Rights to Americans. They just do it. The old revolutionary saying comes to mind: disobedience to tyranny is obedience to God. Back in a minute.